Welcome. I'm Reverend Queen Mother Imakhu. It's my pleasure to be here with you again on another day, sharing sacred Khametic texts as motivation for our lives, ancient wisdom which applies to everyday living today. I hope that you were able to get a lot from yesterday's message. We're going to continue from the book of, or the instructions of um, Prince Harjadef, who was a very well respected sage. He was known for his calmness. And in, um, in this book, we find that it is a set of instructions that he has left behind for his son. This is something that many people who were in prominent positions, especially, felt compelled to do so that their offspring would be able to have at least a roadmap to success. You know, yesterday I was saying how with life, we don't come with a map. Well, actually, in truth, for those who are sages, they do leave behind their wisdom. And it's important for us to be able to hearken to it. Yes, we have our own life experiences that we go through, but the fact is that ultimately it is through those experiences that we learn. However, having someone who has gone before you to give sound advice for the best way to navigate this planet is a wonderful thing. And so this very short book is very potent and has great wisdom. So let's continue from where we were yesterday. Now, yesterday we talked about the importance of taking responsibility for cleansing your own life, for taking ownership over everything, the good, the bad, all of that, and deeply looking into what has worked for you, what needs to change, and being brave enough to make those changes. It's never too late to start over. Never, ever too late. That's the wonderful thing about life. As long as you wake up to see another day, as we believe in Khametic philosophy, you have another chance to get it right, okay? So now you've gone about the process of cleansing yourself, of introspection, of going into action, because everything takes a plan. So you don't want to go willy-nilly. You want to move about in a way that is based on what you have thought about, what you have written down, and what you've decided that you're going to do. And then the next step is action. Okay, so now what happens after that? Now here's what's important, because today's message is called When You Prosper. When you prosper. Not if you prosper, when you prosper. Harjadef tells his son, after you've gotten yourself together, then you will prosper. Why? Because you've done all of the work necessary to get yourself on the road to success and well-being. Now, it's important to note that he is pouring positivity into his son. He is not saying, well, if you turn out to be a layabout, well, if you turn out to be no, it is saying, I expect this of you. I know that this is what you will become. I'm pouring this into you when you prosper. Now, in other interpretations, it says when you grow. Others, it says when you flourish. Okay, they're still very positive. But this one that is the most powerful and impactful in the interpretation is when you prosper. When you prosper. Many of us have bought into the notion that prosperity isn't for everybody, or maybe you come from a family where there wasn't a lot of prosperity, or, you know, well, what is prosperity? We're talking about living abundantly, living well, being secure. Anuk Ardi, we always say, I am safe, I am secure, so that you're not suffering, so that you also have enough set up for you in case something happens. Also, so that if you have a family, we'll get to that tomorrow. If you have a family, then you're going to make sure that you are leaving something behind for them. Now, listen, with Harjadef, he's aware of the fact that he has success. He's a prominent person. And yes, he is going to do whatever he can to leave behind abundance for his son. But he is truly instilling the fact that he has the responsibility, the son has the responsibility of also building and leaving something behind. This is focusing on the future, not only for yourself, but for those coming behind you. If you don't have children, you still have a responsibility in this world for what you leave behind. So, we have people who have shortcomings. Listen, I've been there. And when there is abundance that is provided from others in order to help you to get back on your feet, it is everything. It's everything. And especially when you know that you're going to put it to good use, that you're not going to squander it, you're not going to take it for granted, and that you're going to continue to do your part so you can continue to grow. Yes? Brandon, good morning. I'm so glad to see you because I forgot to ask you the other day about how your mother is. I'm hoping that everything is well with her. I want you to know I'm continuing to pray for her and for you both. And it's so wonderful that you're looking out for her. And I also meant to ask you if you're in California. I seem to remember that you're on the West Coast. Are you in California? Please let me know. Okay. I'm so glad, so glad to see you. You've been on my mind the last several days. Okay. So if you don't have children, I was saying there's still responsibility towards your community. And, the idea is to not live selfishly, So let's look at both the first and the second verse together, okay? Because Harjadef wrote this for his little son. And so in the first verse, it is basically saying, get yourself together. Why? Because he's young. He's knowing that his son is going to go through trial and error in life and go this way and go that way. And that's life, okay? At some point, though, you decide, okay, I got to get myself together. Let me get myself together. And so he's saying, when you get yourself together, then you will prosper. So, and I was saying, what is prosperity? It is abundance. What is abundance? It is being able to live well and not beyond your means. There are so many Khametic scriptures that talk about not borrowing with interest, not spending what you don't have, being sure to shore up enough money in the bank, being wise with your possessions, being protective of your possessions and your family, being protective of your abundance. But it is not talking about having to go out of your way and going and living some wild, extravagant life that's going to lead you into folly. And here's the other thing. You've gone to all this trouble to clean yourself up, right? All right. So now you've decided what path you're going to take, what business you're going to take on, what work you're going to take on, what apprenticeship you're going to take on, what is going to be your profession and your calling all at once. Because we all have our various capacities that we bring here to the planet, but what is it that is going to align most with your destiny to bring you success? If you've gone to the trouble of cleansing, then you don't want to fall into some illegal activity just to get some loot. No. There are plenty of scriptures about that as well. And the disaster that will come upon you if you align yourself with somebody who is disreputable, someone who has no ethics, someone who is always involved in shady activity, always involved in crime. And what you do to yourself when how you put yourself in danger when you do that, but also the fact that it's going to pull you down. We're always talking about Shanu. Who are you around? We'll be getting more into that tomorrow, and who you partner with. So you want to make sure that what you choose to do is in alignment with your true purpose. Doing things that are shady and illegal do not bring goodness to society, okay? We have all these occupations that are out here. I appreciate the people who sweep my street every day, who come and clean my street every day. I appreciate the garbage men, and they should get paid extremely well because the fact that they are truly putting themselves in harm's way in order to make our community healthy by picking up the garbage. People who the trains, who conduct the train conductors, okay? All these different jobs, people who fix traffic lights, all this, we need all of this in society in order for us to function well. School teachers, cafeteria workers, everybody has their job, and all jobs should be appreciated when they're legal. Okay. So here we want to make sure that, oh, Brandy, you did tell me you live in New York. That's right. Oh, she's having surgery today. I'm sending prayers to her right now and praying that everything will have the positive outcome for her best benefit. Give thanks and praise. Okay. So let me mention there is a lot of scripture warning against greed. If you come from a place of having nothing and sit back and are vying people all the time who have more than you, it can lead you to a place, if you're not careful, of doing anything that is possible in order for you to get money. That's what we're talking about, illegal activities. And, I see people who are out there doing all kinds of things and they're flaunting their fabulous lifestyle, knowing that they're out there slinging on the street and poisoning the community. There is karma that goes along with that. Okay. What is the cost? No pun intended. Okay. In fact, it says here in the book of Amenemapet, one of my favorite books, do not rejoice in wealth from theft, nor complain of being poor. Mm-hmm. Listen, and I'm going to be brass tacks. I'm not sitting here. I'm not sitting here pontificating. Okay. My mother was the president of the Women's Auxiliary, and she also was president of a major church organization here in the state of New Jersey, and came to know people all across the country. But before that, my mother was a numbers runner. She was a numbers runner, yeah. I didn't know it was illegal until she got arrested. I didn't understand anything about it. I was a kid, and quite frankly, my father had told my mother that you're never going to succeed without me when he left. Okay, my mother put him out for different reasons. And so and she struggled for a bit. Okay, of course, my grandparents did what they could to help, and she worked for the family business. But eventually, listen, the family business was a bar and restaurant. Okay, so we had all kinds of people coming to the bar, including people who had trucks that things kind of fell off of, So anyway, and I can understand why my mother made sure to put me in church, because she wanted to make sure that I was able to get another set of ethics. I was raised to be a very, very good girl. Okay, my cousins and I and my sister, we were all raised to be very good girls. And there's a lot that went over our heads because the fact that we were shielded from a lot. So, but the truth is, even though my mother was the big wig in church, and this is before she became the president of the major state organization, she was the numbers runner. So a lot of her customers were people from the church, Cheryl Lee, good morning. Heroin Affair, it's good to see you. So, yeah, that funded a lot of things for my sister and I, and my mother always made sure that, in spite of the fact that my father never brought us anything for the holidays, he came over and he left. He came over, as my mother said, with empty arms and left with full arms. And I didn't think about that. I didn't, it wasn't, my mother said that to me as an adult. And I thought about that later. I was like, wow, that's true. Because he always expected he was going to come away with a good gift from us that was funded from illegal gambling. For those of you who don't know what that is, and you can Google it, you can look it up here on YouTube. There are plenty of videos about it, and it basically preceded the lottery system that we know so well today. But it actually helped to sustain a lot of Black families. And yes, I didn't understand that it was illegal. I had no idea. But I do remember that when my mother walked away from it, she walked away, okay? And she and the family very much instilled this is not the way you want to go. You know, there were family members that kept warning her, you know, it's going to, your time may be running out here. You've been doing this for a while and have never gotten caught. Although, from my understanding, the local police were very well aware of it, and some of them were in on it too. But still, the idea that my mother made sure not to bring us into that, not to make us too aware of what was going on, and the fact that she really instilled that, you know, this is not the way that you want to go. And I should also say it was kind of funny that my father came over to get his very expensive gifts, you know, that he knew he was going to get, that came as a result of the gambling money. I had a very interesting life. So anyway, let me turn my phone off here for a moment. Do not disturb. Okay. So yeah. So I want you to understand, and thank you for that. Yes, he left with full arms of unconditional love, if nothing else. That's a wonderful way to look at that. You know, Cheryl Lee. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because we never questioned how come you don't bring us anything. We never asked him that. But my mother was making sure that she could do the best that she could by us under the circumstances. And so, you know, for that, I'm grateful. I am grateful. And, you know, hey, sometimes, you know, it's not like she was doing drugs or anything like that, or selling drugs or anything, you know, it was, you know, but still the fact is, this was something where she had a very strong line of demarcation. You know, this is not the way you want to go. I want you to be this. I want you to do this, you know. So, in fact, there's a book. Oh, it's not at my fingertips. A woman wrote about the lifestyle that she was provided by her mother, who was a numbers runner. I think it was called "My Mother Was a Numbers Runner," or something like that. And yeah. So anyway, the success that I watched my mother achieve, wow. You know, I mean, going from there and always being very classy. My mother was always a very classy person. And being the illegal gambling maven to becoming a big wig in the church world. I mean, a huge, huge, you know. I remember one time a few years before she died, there was a huge state lottery. You know, no, it was a nationwide lottery. And I remember saying to her, hey, we should go in on a ticket, you know. And she said, no, I promised God that if he got me out of trouble that I would give up gambling. And, you know, because my mother didn't serve any time, you know, she didn't go to prison, you know, she was just given the slap on the wrist. So she was true to her word. I mean, not even a lottery ticket, nothing, you know. And so, you know, so she was just a clear example of how you can turn your life around. My mother was always so optimistic, always, you know. She saw hope in things that other people didn't see hope in. She saw possibilities in things that other people didn't see possibilities in, and she made them happen. You know, she was really quite a go-getter. And so, you know, between her and other people in my family, my grandparents, of course, I had people who were just pouring positivity and hope into our generation, which was still part of the Jim Crow generation. They never spoke limitations. Okay. Well, my father did. Okay. I'm talking about my mother's side of the family. My father was basically like, why don't you just get a job at a telephone company, you know, which was a way of speaking security into your children at the time. You know, you wanted to get them a job, you wanted them to get a job in the insurance company. And I did that actually. had a job with an insurance company at one point. And it was not my gig. It was just not for me. You know, they said telephone company, insurance company, the bank, government job, main thing, you know, get those four things, okay? But that was not my path. So, but my grandparents and other family members and my mother also, you know, spoke limitlessness, you know, and the importance of following why you're here. and also feeding into that when you see a child and you see their potential, and you help them to become established in what they're good at, right? You have a child, you see the child can draw, my mother my mother bought me art supplies. She saw that I had a talent in art. I played the flute from when I was in fourth grade, and so she bought me my flute. She encouraged me when I was in high school band. She showed up for all of my band concerts. And also I remember her showing up to see when I was in the marching band and all of that, um, singing, I mean, just so many things. All my talent, was recognized. So, and that's the kind of, this is, I'm saying that this is like what this letter is, and pouring positive instruction. Okay. Cheryl Lee said before the mid 70 numbers, numbers was a part of most Black homes. Mine was no exception. Okay. Bless your mother and her tenacity. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and it's so funny because I'm realizing now as I'm talking to you that my mother probably made sure that my father came over to get his gifts just to make sure to let him see all the new stuff we would, new TV, new furniture, new car, and yeah, we're giving you a nice gift, not some little chintzy gift, like, yeah, you said I wouldn't make it without you. I am making it without you, okay? Yeah. So, but the point of turning yourself around, and telling yourself it's okay to prosper, because here's the thing I did not say, because it wasn't just that my mother became a president. She was vice president and then president of this major church organization statewide here in New Jersey. She also started her catering and silk floral design business. My mother was an extremely talented artist and just had a real knack for that. I mean, that's something that runs in our family. And, she was truly I've said before, she was truly the Black Martha Stewart. She had a real touch for designing. That's where I get mine from. And that runs in the family too. But she had a real touch for beauty, for creating beauty, for floral design, for also wanting to entertain and have people really enjoy the dining experience. I remember my mother, when we would go out to eat, she would make sure to, take your napkin, put it in your lap. You don't put it up here, you put it in your lap. We're going to order from the a la carte menu. You use this fork, you use this, and she loved all of that. And so she turned it into a business. So she got beyond the illegal gambling and became, she took all of her business acumen from that and turned it into a business where she had clients from all over the country. Amazing, just amazing. So, the fact that you can turn yourself around, right, from circumstances that may seem bleak, all right, or limited, and move beyond that into limitlessness. It's all a matter of how you see the world, what you believe about yourself. If you have people who don't pour into you, then you have to pour into yourself. And you can't just say, well, people are always talking down to me and no positivity was fed into me. Okay, you recognize that, right? So that means you got to go and get that. There are motivational speakers galore here. Although I have to say, here is the fault that I have found with the motivational business industry. It does not teach ethics. That's why there are so many people who succeed, but then will just stab you in the back, and the throat. They'll do everything that they need to do to get ahead, because all they're thinking is, success, 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 success. They're driven by success. And, yes, you want to be successful, but we live here on a planet with other people. And fairness is important. Integrity is all important. Character is all important. And dealing from a place where you are, well, put it this way. At the end of the day, you have to look at yourself in the mirror. And It should not be a thing where you feel good about yourself because you've done all these dastardly things. Okay. And it should be that you feel that you've done right in the best way by everybody and by yourself, yes. But you're doing it with integrity. Again, remember the first part of this is cleaning up your life. Cleaning up your life. I've seen some people who think that just means, okay, you're going to clean up their diet and they're going to get around different people and they're going to put on a suit every day or whatever, and that's going to change them because they're not doing the internal work. The external is just a beginning. It is about the internal work, okay? Now, taking that and how you are flourishing, all right, into establishing your household, what will that look like? So this is where you decide where you're going to live. And maybe right now you're living someplace you're not happy with. Okay, you don't have to be stuck. You can move. I gave the example yesterday about the person who told me he kept running into his ex-wife and it's been 10 years. It's like, yeah, but you moved 2 blocks away. So you can't complain. You put yourself in those circumstances, okay? And, we all have choices. If you open yourself up to the possibility of limitlessness, then you'll find that things start flowing to you. Information starts flowing to you, things you never knew before, right? Listen, last year when I went to real estate school, my whole head opened up. And I've been wanting to do real estate since I was in my early 20s. Finally went to real estate school. Oh my God. My world will never be the same, ever, ever. And in this, it talks about when you prosper, establish your household. There are many Khametic scriptures that talk about the importance of having your own. The importance of making sure that whatever your hand touches, that it's going to be something that is worthwhile, that has value, all right? And see, here's the other side of it in talking about value. The question comes about how much you value yourself. Now, you can be walking around a great big mansion and still be a jerk. We've seen this. And, a lot of times I will ask people, I will ask myself about people who have huge mansions and they're the only person living there, or maybe 2 people live there. What's the point? What do you need all that space for? Looks lovely. It's nice to say you have it all. But I mean, in truth, it doesn't make sense in a world where there are people who are walking around trying to figure out not only where they're going to get their next meal from, but also where they're going to sleep at night. We need to be more mindful. It's important. There's a scripture that says it's important to live somewhere humbly and have happiness and know that that's your abundance because you have everything that you need. You have people who love you. You have a loving family. You have, you're not wanting for anything, and you're respected in the community. You're of good character. Those are the things that you want. You have love, right? As opposed to going out and getting these extravagant riches that are only status symbols, but then you're empty inside. Cheryl Lee says, the one thing you taught me and brought to my awareness of being of good character is asking for forgiveness with contrition. Oh, yes. And it's so funny that you say that because of how I'm going to end things today. I'm going to share something from the book of Medw that is something that is part of my daily prayer. Because like we're talking about yesterday and cleansing, it's important to have contrition. Otherwise, you're just going to end up doing the same things again. Contrition, what does that mean? Truly being sorry about what you did. Being mindful about what happened, why you did this to this person, why you acted in this way, why you chose this. And then really not wanting to do it again because you've gotten the lesson. Okay? And also, we'll be getting into the scriptures that talk about the importance of not being stuck on vengeance, putting things into the hands of the Necheru, all right? And going about with your life. That doesn't mean you're going to let people do the same things to you again that hurt you, but not letting yourself getting consumed with vengeance, Give it over. Give it over. Move forward with your life, because those are some of the things that can get you stuck as well. You're so busy ruminating on the things that have happened to you, and you're just stuck in it because of the fact that you see you haven't gotten justice in it. But truly, it is right in the saying that the best revenge is your success, meaning that you are living happily, that you have moved on, that you've moved on, and you're all right. That's the best thing that you can do. Okay. So, establishing your household, where you live, where you want to be, and making sure that you are secure and that you feel safe and that you are happy. All right. And so, who would you do that with? We'll talk about that tomorrow. All right. So, let me end sharing this passage with you from the book of Pebor. I love Khametic scripture. I love the sacred words that have been left behind. So much wisdom, so much goodness, truly so much wise instruction. This is from the very last passage of the book of Pebor. And you've probably heard this before in Christian circles, but it first came from Khametic axioms. I've not taken vengeance on another. Another has not, I've not taken vengeance on another. Another has not suffered on my account. Let me go to the verse before that. I have not burned to do evil. My heart and the God knows it. The Most High knows it. I have not taken vengeance on another. Another has not suffered on my account. The sin which I have committed unwittingly, I beg forgiveness for it. And I call to the Most High, the Necheru, Nebichur, to have mercy on me and give me sweetness. Yeah. And right beneath it, it says that the Most High removes the worry about prosperity without there being a reserve. Yeah. Divine limitless creator, divine Netshur, divine Netcheru, Urshe, Paut Netcheru. We thank you so much for another day, for another chance to get it right. We thank you so much for infinite wisdom and ask you to continue to lead and guide us as we align ourselves with our destinies in the way that is most appropriate. And as we bring goodness to this world and as we bring goodness to ourselves, living abundantly, living in love, living in the security, knowing that everything that we need is right here on the planet if we just ask for it, and live within divine law and respect all of nature and respect life in general, respecting one another, respecting where we live, how we live, and the love that we give and share. We ask for you to honor all of these requests in your many divine and righteous names. Amen, Imenit. All right, that concludes our lesson for today. I pray that you have a really wonderful and successful day. There are two words for success. Well, there are a few, but there's success, which sounds like success. It means to overcome, to break something, like a bad habit, okay? And then also there is neferet, which means goodness, beauty, all right, and success. So I say to you, Heru Nefer or Neferet, which means a good, beautiful, and successful day to you. And Merea, which means much love. Heri, which means be at peace. Teni, which means to be accountable. Jebewi, which it means to show mercy. But this also deals with the discharge of a debt and working to correct things when you know that you have something that you need to fix. But it shows that mercy is available if applied in the right way. Be good to yourself today. Be good to others. Until tomorrow, Medw.